multimedia personality, comedic commentator, songwriter, recording artist, spiritual leader, author, and actor. Larry D. Reid is the founder of the MBN Network, owner of LDR Enterprises based out of Atlanta, Georgia, and the spiritual leader of the Reformation Church of Atlanta. You can catch Larry Reid on the BET Plus original series Kingdom Business and on American Gangsta Trap Queens. Streaming online at BET.plus. Join with people from around the world praying 15 minutes every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time by calling 667-770-1402, code 974-8029#. Church Critic by Dr. Larry D. Reid. An examination of the Larry Reid Live show perspective. Purchase a copy today by logging on to LarryReidLive.com. That's LarryReidLive.com.
My name is Shantae Sandback, and I am a patron of Dr. Reid's platform, LRL, on Patreon, as well as a member of Reformation Church of Atlanta. I started as a viewer. on Facebook Live. I was introduced to Dr. Reid as he was covering church in the pandemic. A friend of mine shared the video with me and was like, you have to watch this, because this particular episode that he was providing his commentary on hit home for me, as it was the family church that I grew up in. So it was from that moment, and I remember it was October of 2020. And it hit home for me because at that time it was the height of COVID. And although I was no longer a member of this church, I still had family members that were still pretty much, very much a part of it, 4 generations. So it was very emotional for me, but in all that I received from his comedic commentary, who knew that that would be the lure that God would use to pull me in, and that's how my journey started. So I started as a viewer, ended up becoming a patron, and now I am a member, as I stated. I had no idea that I still had so much, as he coins the term, church brain, that still needed to be uprooted. So what Reformation has done for me, what the LRL platform, Patreon, has done for me has been transformational. I was so over church. And I know many have kind of shared and expressed the same thing in this community. But I was over church because I knew it just had to be something so much more to what life was. I saw it as oppressive, and what Dr. Reid has given to me and so many others in this community is experiencing the divine of who we are, the divine being of who God is, in a way that was so limiting from church. And so that is what Patreon, as well as being a part of Reformation Church of Atlanta, has done for me. But it was the lure of his Facebook Lives. And I'll be honest, there were times where I would cringe because my brain sometimes couldn't fathom some of the comedic ways in which he would present topics, but he presented topics that oftentimes the church wouldn't talk about. Things that were oppressive, astrology, sex, things that were often deemed as witchcraft or dark, but yet those are things that were taken from us, that suppressed us, that limit us. And so his teaching, the nuggets and his wisdom from his commentary has been so transformational for me, so life-changing. And so I offer anyone who finds themselves like at the crossroads of just like, it has to be more, like there has to be more than life. It is. This community has helped me to embrace the mystical side of who I am, begin to understand that of what I was called to do, the divine being that I am, to walk boldly in who I am because of who Dr. Reid is and how freeing he is and how bold he is. it allows and has created those same sacred spaces for so many others. So, and that's been my testimony and my journey. I have changed in so many ways for the good in all aspects of my life, from emotional, spiritual, and financial. Let me tell you, that whole financial wellness plan is a game changer. It has been life changing. That is who I am. Dr. Reid, thank you for your complete and total yes, and for all that you continue to do.
Patreon.com/Larry Reid Live. Let me tell you why you should join. You will gain access to master level teaching and coaching, which includes Sunday morning prayer calls with Dr. Reid, Wednesday night breakdown with Dr. Reid, the prophets and care pastors, divine partnerships and networking with a like-minded community, exclusive content, which includes daily posts, ranging in topics that are too expansive to share on Dr. Reid's public platform, including money, health and wellness, entrepreneurship, relationships, prophecy, prayer, and more. Become a member today by logging on to patreon.com/Larry Reid Live today. Stay connected to Larry Reid Live. Take a moment and like the Facebook page, subscribe to the YouTube page, and hit the bell. Text LRL to 404-999-7527. That's the words LRL to 404-999-7527. And get notified when we go live. Become a member of Patreon. Log on to patreon.com/Larry Reid Live. Sign up, then download the Patreon app and turn on your notifications. Get connected today.
We're about to have a conversation. All right, my name is Larry D. Reid, and I'm the host of the Larry Reid Live Show. Let naughty dotty every darn body know that we are on to have a conversation. So darn lootly. Now, the conversation we're going to be having tonight, I'm going to go ahead and let you know that it's going to be a little bit challenging for some of us, because some of the things that I'm going to be saying you may have heard for the first time. And I'm saying all this not really knowing what I'm going to say. So I don't want you I don't want you to think that I'm already planning to go out of pocket or to say something off to tie you up. No, but I just know from sitting with myself long enough doing this job and others similar to it that I need to go ahead and give some disclaimers, because I just I never know how that thing going to inspire me to say and put compounds together in descriptive terms and some funnies and some not so funnies together. So I'm go ahead and give a disclaimer that I may say something that you really don't care to hear, but I promise you that it's going to be at least engaging, maybe even entertaining, possibly even educational, because what I'm going to be discussing tonight, I'm going to be playing 4 videos. 4 videos I'm going to be playing from my IG, and I think I placed some of them on TikTok and also on Facebook. And I'm going to play these videos and have a conversation about them. But this conversation, the theme is basically going to be comparison and some contrast as relates to Christianity, the way most of us practice it here, and the way that it was practiced thousands of years ago, and the alterations and the upgrades or downgrades that have been made. And we're just going to discuss and we're going to talk about it. Now, I don't want to offend anybody, but I might just go off and I don't know how it's going to go. But I'm very calm. I'm very collected. I was not coming live tonight like I wasn't going to come. I didn't come live last week. God just didn't feel like it. And at this point, I do not have to do one more Larry live show. But because of testimonies like we heard played before I came on from Shantae, that's the reason why I'm still doing Larry Live. Because if it's just 10 more people over the next 6 months that I'm supposed to bring into Patreon and get them in there and really get them, advancing in every area of their life and mind expanded and them healed from church brain, and it'll be worth it. It really will be worth it. In the meantime, I'm comfortable with making posts on IG and Facebook and TikTok and watching y'all fight in the comment section. I laugh and kick my feet and then go over there in Patreon and talk about all of y'all. I enjoy doing that, and I cannot do another Larry Live show. However, I do want to say that I do love all of you guys that watch and engage the platform. Now, had my topic been about some pastor who had just been caught doing something, you would come over here to see what I got to say about it. But because the title is European Christianity's Hell, God, and the Bible versus African Spirituality and Christianity, you're not really that interested in it. And see, these are the times, Elisa said, we need you on Mondays. I look forward to information and laughter. Now, see, this is those kind of comments that'll make me do the show. And because that is one of the partners out of Patreon. So I hear that, and that goes into my ears. And Elisa happened to be one of my favorites. They say it ain't right to have favorites, but I have so many favorites that don't even matter. So it don't even matter. Everybody's favorite just about. I can't say there's one patron, one Reformation Church of Atlanta member. I absolutely positively love each and every one of them. And so when they say stuff like that, it make me, I hear it. I do hear it. I hear you, Elisa. Okay, so I'm going to play these videos because it's these videos that's causing this conversation to be had. Let me make an announcement. Here's the announcement. For all of you that are having problem on these, let me start over. Kyle's about to go another way. Lord help! Oh my God! Help me not to be out of order. Okay. I can say it like this. For those of you that are having a problem with my post on IG, TikTok, Facebook, and even my long form live shows that air on Facebook and YouTube at the same during time, particularly those topics surrounding spirituality, Christianity, racism, and a whole lot of other things. It's like y'all have a real life problem because y'all go off in them comments. Let me tell y'all something. You do not have to come over here at during all. You don't have to watch. You can keep your ass over there where you belong. You don't have to come over to here. And let me tell you this here. Get used to this. Get used to people calling out your doctrine, your methodology, your practice, and your goings about when they are mean, evil, off base, not factual, untrue, and biased, and filled with bigotry. Because we are entering the age of Aquarius. We are about to turn, full turn, in the year 2024 into Aquarius. That means knowledge, information, awakening. So get ready for your thing you've held to, the way you've held to so long, to crumble on you, even if you don't want to put it away or alter it or edit it or upgrade it or adjust it, because it's going to happen. From the government to our money, to the educational system, to the pharmaceutical world, money, finance, all these things we are entering Aquarius. So what was will not be anymore as it was. Everything is changing. Put it in the chat and tell your nearest dummy that everything is changing. You need to catch the heck up. The old heads are dying for a reason in the acting world, in the music world, government. You see that man stood there like this? Can't say shit. They're about to go, and they're going for a reason because we're entering Aquarius. Now, we've been dancing in Aquarius. If you're watching the sky, the planets, we danced in it. It darted in and out of Aquarius. We're moving out of Pisces. We're moving out of Pisces. Put it in the chat. Pisces, what's the sign of the Pisces? The fish. Christianity, you're being jacked up. I'm already getting started. You're being jacked up, and Jesus said, it said, when you see the young boy, that's what the biblications say, carrying the water, what's that? That's the sign for the Aquarius. You need to know that everything about to change and stuff about to switch on you. Transition comes. And I prophesy 2024, add them together. It's 8. 8 is the number of transition and the beginning of a new beginning. 8 sit in the middle of the 7, that is a closure, and the 9, that is a new birth. 8 is the transitory period where things get ready to change to go into something new. So the stage is being set. So you might as well just go ahead and let it go. So if you're going to be following my content, I'm an Aquarius, and you're coming into my age. So if you don't want to fool up with me, stay off my page. Okay? Go on over there and do. Shoot, Jeremy, go. What in the world? This was not supposed to go like this. Let me see if I can bring it down. Woosa. Let me see. So we're moving out of Pisces. So your fish about to be fried. Okay? Thank God for the period, for the foundation that was laid. But now we're going somewhere during else. Did y'all hear what I said? I don't think y'all hear me. And I ain't got no business yelling. Thank you, Linda Reeves. Thank you. Yes, it's time for the real preachers to speak concerning us black. Oh, hold on. Speak the truth concerning us black nation reparations. Yeah, we've been having that reparations conversation for a little bit of a piece of time. And it's coming up. I was actually watching a IG that I follow, and there was a conversation about it on the UN floor. So let's see how that go. Okay? All right, so are y'all ready? Yeah, Jeremy came in here and said that. Your fish is about to be fried. Amen. And look at TJ said hello, Jeremy. Okay, so y'all know when to show up. Okay, all right. All right, so okay, so I don't have to explain it. Y'all understand we dart in, we dart out. We dart in, we dart out. Okay. Okay, so the reason why I'm having this conversation on tonight is because of those short form posts. So I'm gonna play these videos. I may play them. Should I play them one by one or back to back? What is this one right here? I don't remember this. What is this? Oh, okay. Let's leave. He coming out the gate wrong. Okay, so the comparison that I'm going to be highlighting is European Christianity. Let me go ahead and tell you this: whether you black, white, blue, if you in America, if you are in Europe, if you are most on the continent, most parts of the African, the continent Africa, you are probably practicing European version of Christianity. Let me go ahead and tell you that. What's in your mind about Christianity, the Bible, God, and Jesus is European. It's white, a white man's version of Christ theology. Okay? So let's go ahead and accept that truth. That go for all of us. That European version of Christianity has created a mental illness in those that practice it especially Black people. And one of the things that I would like to do is to help you see at least that you have church brain. It's a mental illness. And hopefully you will make a decision to decolonize and deconstruct your Christianity, your faith base, because there's some stuff, possibly more than likely, that just should be thrown away. And that's difficult to hear, but it's the truth. So that's the conversation that we're going to be having. And I'm going to be comparing that European Christianity to African Christianity and spirituality. So by the end of the conversation that we have tonight, you're going to want to go and study. You're going to want to go read. You're going to want to probably talk to your closest friends. You may call your pastor. If you listen to me tonight, though, let me give you a warning. If you really hear me, and listen. And how do I know you're listening? Because you're listening. Whenever you're listening, you end up listing, writing. So if you're just hearing me on the surface level, you're not going to write anything down. You're not going to take a note. You're not going to feel like going to study and research. But if you hear me, and fall into listening, you're going to start listening. And when I sign off, you're going to go study. You're going to run to Google, the library, something. And you're going to start asking some questions. That's what I want to happen. I don't feel like I got to sit in this chair and try to fix you. I just want to start the conversation and get you thinking about your practices and thinking about your beliefs and start deconstructing and decolonizing. Christianity is colonization. Put that in the chat. And I want everybody to breathe. Christianity is colonization. Christianity is political. Christianity is business. Christ in Christianity, the truth about Christ Jesus is not, but the Christ in Christianity is. Okay, breathe. And these are some hard truths. I'm not trying to change what you believe, but I want you to think about what you believe and ask some questions. And where you see that you have been a victim of what somebody told you, you don't have to be, you can cure that and just tonight. You say, okay, I took what they said. I need to find out for myself. And I see here that this is some bullshit. So let me adjust this. But Christianity is colonization. Christianity is political. Christianity is business. And the Christ in that Christianity is too. Okay? But the truth about Jesus Christ, the real King of Kings, the real Lord of Lords, Alpha and Omega, who is God. He ain't with that. This was very interesting to hear, and I am choosing white people. All my videos is white people because I want to teach something to my people. That white skin is not your enemy. Whiteness is. Put that in the chat. White skin is not your enemy. Whiteness is. And I follow a few pages on Africa, and I saw a picture put up today. I think it was a joke, but just to be clear, I put in there, it was an Africa page, and the person who administrates the page said, this is the way my face look every time white people follow this page. I said, well, what's the problem with that? I said, because they come out of Africa too. Africa is their home as well. Because I think we think that white people are our enemy. Not all of us, but some of us do. And we're triggered by the white skin. We have to do some work. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. The most prejudiced people I have ever met in my life are black. Notice I said prejudice. I didn't say racist because I keep seeing people accuse black and brown people of racism when it is not possible. That lets me know you don't know what racism is, because racism is a system. So white skin is not our enemy. Whiteness is our enemy. Did y'all hear what I said? White skin is not our enemy. Whiteness is. Highlight Erica, because she's a white woman. She says, only white people can be racist. Now I want y'all to let that soak in. Because I've heard black people accuse other black people of being racist. I said, so everybody just kind of dumb and stupid? Nobody reads a book? That is dumb as hell. Only white people can be racist. Now, let me say this. The most prejudiced people I have ever met were black. And rightfully so. No excuse, but rightfully so. Why? Because of the oppression, the abuse, the massacres that were done by white hands, whiteness. Of course, white people are guilty. When I say white people, I'm not talking about all of them. White people are guilty of racism. We are guilty of prejudiceness. Acknowledgement, realization, repentance, and turning has to happen on both sides. Are y'all with me? Let's listen to what this white man said that I didn't know who he was. I haven't known him prior to now, but I enjoyed hearing him say this. Let's watch.
History facts of Jesus, which I think favor Christianity in this weird way. That dude is not the dude y'all have turned him into. Y'all have Americanized Jesus and used him as a way of not only propaganda, but you've weaponized God. That was the opposite of who Jesus was. The same people that you are criticizing and going against are the only people that Jesus had a relationship with in the Bible. He did nothing but protect town whores, prostitutes, people in jail. Like the famous story, let he who without sin cast his first stone. He was protecting a prostitute. It's crazy. It's like, man, that's the opposite of what that dude was doing. So that's my problem with the church. It's like, even if we just go by the 4 books that y'all call the only 4 accounts of him, this dude ran around with 12 thugs. If he was here today, he'd be on a fucking Harley.
Now, let me tell you what was superb about this commentary. Because it paints a picture. Jelly Roll is his name. And we know what he said is the truth, if you read your Bible. Jesus always found himself amongst what organized religion, Sadducees, Pharisees, would say that these are people to stay away from, because they aren't saved, or they aren't Christians, or they are not followers. If Jesus was alive today, he would be on the Larry Reid live show saying the exact same thing that you have heard me say when I'm critical of organized religion, particularly the church, Christian church. Because Jesus saw and understood something that somebody done created an idea surrounding and about God that alienates, abuses, rejects, and injures people when Jesus loves all. And we have to sit with this and tell the truth. We have to sit with this and tell the truth because that's what it is. I think we forget that in that time in the Bible, Jesus was in the posture of the reformer. The apostles moved in a reformer's spirit. There was organized religion, Judaism, which is at the root, one of the things is at the root of Christianity. The political power, the business that Christianity is. Because let me tell you this, the formation of Christianity was a political power move. I'm saying this as a Christian. I say I am a Christian. I practice Christianity. I believe in Christianity. But I have to tell the truth that the religion was for the purpose of power. It was for the purpose of colonization. It was for the purpose of gaining control and financial control over many different types of people, over many different countries and continents. That's the truth. It's the truth. And I'm saying that as a Christian. It's the truth. That does not disturb my relationship with Jesus. That does not disturb my relationship with God. It does not disturb my relationship with the Bible. I know that the Bible was a construction of said political power, of said business called Christianity. I know that. But even in that Bible, there are truths from God that can be discovered through a revelation of it. And I need for you to understand that this is what, because somebody said to me, how can you rebuke, revile the Bible, Christianity to Christian church, but you are a Christian? I said, listen here. All of these are tools and practices that we use to come into a deeper understanding of ourselves and God. Do you know there are people who are discovering God through other books outside of the Bible? I discovered him by way of the Bible. But I have also received the revelation of Jesus by watching a movie. I have also received the revelation of Jesus through listening to a song. All these things are a group of creatives' creation who all were inspired to create whatever it is that they created. Same way we got the Bible. And God can be discovered through anything created. That's why the oldest religions of indigenous people, Africans, God was the sun. Then God was the moon. Then God was the tree. Stuff that was created that they know no man could create. All things created, even the thing man makes, a revelation of God can come out of. That's what makes the Bible so amazing, is because of the plethora of revelations about God that can come out of the Bible, the greatest book ever created. Amazing. But we know what we know. They have changed Jesus into something he is not. This is why I said the Christ in Christianity, just like the religion, is a business, a political power. It's all those things I named. But that is not who Christ really is. That's a construction. And that Jesus, just like Jelly Roll said, is been used. Listen to what he said, how this Jesus has been used, what they have made him into. That is the constructed Jesus.
History facts of Jesus, which I think favor Christianity in this weird way. That dude is not the dude y'all have turned him into. Y'all have Americanized Jesus and used him as a way of not only propaganda, but you've weaponized God.
And you've also made him a business. You made Jesus the colonizer. Now here I go. It's about to get tight. The name and the understanding of Jesus was already floating around in the continent of Africa. And when I say the continent of Africa, I don't see where I brought a picture over. I don't see where you brought that over. No, not that. I brought just a picture over. You didn't bring it over. Okay, let me get this picture. Where is it at? I don't even see it, but I put it in here. I thought I did. Did I did? Maybe I didn't. Let me send it over. I want us to understand what Africa is and what it is not. Oh no, I didn't bring it over. I got it. Hold on, y'all. All right. Okay, calendar, it should be in there now. Yeah, Dropbox. I just dropped it in there. See it? Yeah. All right. So when I say Africa, I want you to think like this, because people talk about Africa like it's a country. No, there are countries in Africa. Countries in Africa. Africa is a continent. It's the place where life began. So this is Africa. Now we know Africa has countries, but look at all the other countries that could fit the proper size of Africa. Now, every map you will look at makes United States look huge and everybody else look much smaller. But this is the reality. China, the UK, Eastern Europe, Italy, France, Spain, United States can all fit in Africa. So when I say Africa, I want you to understand how massive of a continent that this is. Look at that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where the world began. Before Jesus was ever presented to the Europeans, before the Roman Catholic Church, Jesus was already being acknowledged and deified in Africa. And this is very important for us to get and to understand. Christianity. Now listen to what I'm saying, because you hear other people say it different. Christianity, the religion, was not practiced in Africa. Not yet. Colonization began in the 1800s of Africa. And that literally meant that people could go, well, actually, it began around the 1400s, and some history books say the 1800s, but the act of colonization was already going on because of these two edicts that were passed by the Pope or the Roman Catholic Church. The doctrine of discovery, which was during the 1400s, gave Portugal and Spain the power to go to any area of land that was not Christian and say that it is discovered. I want you to hear this. Hear what I'm saying. So these lands were already inhabited by Africans. Mind you now, our continents are still moving apart every year 7 inches. I think it is, if memory serves me correct. But if you go back thousands of years, all of this was one land mass. So Africans was everywhere. The original Native Americans, African. The original Asians, Africans. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? So as things begin to happen as they happen, the idea of Christianity, you got to go back to Constantine now, was thought up by Rome. And the idea now is to now go to all of these other places where Christianity is not the said religion and colonize it. And the doctrine of discovery is they really don't exist until they become Christian. This is why they say Columbus discovered America 1492, because America was not Christian. The Pope gave Spaniards and Portuguese the authority to make this declarative statement that I discovered you because you were not under the political business Christianity. Are y'all with me? So prior to this, Jesus was already in Africa. That the understanding, the idea, the worship, the acknowledgement of Jesus was already happening in Africa. Hundreds, thousands of years prior. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? And you can go and study all of this. Don't go study one place, study 3 places, and then compare. You say, okay, now I see. This is what isn't talked about. Spirituality, worship, praise, prayer was already happening in Africa. This is how they got some slaves on the ship in the 1800s. Because remember, they started moving us in the 1400s, but that kept on all the way through to about the latter end of the 1800s. Do you know how they got some of the slaves on the ship? Because the idea now, Christianity, Jesus, now is becoming more and more of a political power and business. Now, Africa starts getting colonized. Even today, you go in Africa, and Africans see their indigenous ways as evil, just like we are taught to see African spirituality as evil over there. They have been colonized to where they are practicing Christianity the same way that we are. However, in Africa, there's still some pockets and areas where they have married Christianity with their indigenous African spirituality. And of course, our missionaries and evangelists go over there and say it's demonic and rebuke it, and they believe it, and they let it go. But what I wish Africans knew, that when they came on the ship over here, a lot of them didn't stop practicing their indigenous ways. And you know, European Christianity did so good to where when you hear the word voodoo, you think evil. There is a voodoo that is evil, but voodoo or the origin of it is like there's a Christianity that is evil. Voodoo, hoodoo, all of that. In the South, my mama and them, grandma and them, they still put an egg or for the mumps or an onion in the door when you got a fever and to draw out the fever. All of that, that's indigenous, that's African. Some of you that come by way of the Native Americans, you know, y'all had a whole lot of those practices. Those are African practices. A lot of the Asians still practice these things. So these things are still being passed down in generations. And a lot of it has been lost because our people don't understand where this religion, Christianity, come from. Christianity is a political business idea that raped African spirituality, that raped and robbed Judaism, and was created. Then you have the other Abrahamic religion that did the same thing. So we're learning European Christianity to where we think what we do at church, the shout, they tell us, oh, no. Y'all call it shouting, which is the proper African word for the dance that you see in church, particularly in the Black church, but now you see it all over. That is the proper word for that movement that we do when the music get to going. Somebody come and tell you, no, the proper word is Korah. That's Judaism. That's what they call the dance in Judaism. You see how they put this on Tehillah, it means to sing Zoleo. You remember that? And they trained us with that. They gave us these Jewish Judaism words to explain to us what we're doing. They did not give us our African term. That's why in the Black church, you say, y'all call it shouting because that's the African word for the dance. It's the shout. It's actually called the ring shout. But you think it's Korah. No, that's what they call it in the Jewish people, their dance. When they say, well, y'all, Black people be praying, that's a mosquito, be praying. When the proper word is tefillah. No, that's the Jewish. No, that's Judaism now. In Africa, it's called conjure, which means to call upon the ghost. You know, so I believe this, I've been saying this. If Black people gonna come into the kings and queens that they are and into their power in this country, we've got to go back to our practices that caused our backyards to have diamonds in it, pearls coming up on our shore, cobalt in the ground, electricity in rocks that they steal now to put in our cell phones. From the Congo and Uganda. They still stealing. And then charging the Africans for their own resources, keep them where they can't use their own resources. But now something is changing. I feel Africa is going to rise. In the age of Aquarius, Africa is going to come into her rightful place, the continent. And anybody that gets in the consciousness of Africa is going to rise. Black, white, whoever. Black people, or what is that called? You're travailing and you're welling. Actually, the proper word is shabak. No, that's the Jewish word. It's actually ululate for Africans. That's what it really is. And that's why they put that in the mouth of the women, because when they will ululate, things begin to happen in the spirit world. We see that in black churches. I was raised like that. My mama had a ululate, a wail, a travail, still does. If she lift her voice and say, "Oh!" the whole atmosphere gets charged with fire. So although we are in European Christianity's consciousness, there's a part of us that still remember how to do the spiritual stuff. Y'all remember when the white churches started copying us in our dance? It wasn't always like that. As time went along, you start seeing it. Oh, okay. I hope that you're hearing what I'm saying. Are y'all hearing me? Right. Life muzzled the women because they could manipulate with sound. Now, that'll take me into something that I don't want to talk about right now, but let me hit it a little bit. Witchcraft. Your church brain hear that word and you think demon. That word was created during the 1800s as well. Witchcraft means the ability to manipulate energy. Simple as that. But here in America, we put that word on anything or anybody that we think is doing something that we think that's not right, and they're doing it by a power. That's witchcraft. The reality is that every preacher that mounts the pulpit and every praise and worship singer that mounts the stage, anybody who stands and speaks to a people, sings to a people, and moves a crowd is operated in witchcraft. It is having the craftiness to manipulate energy. Now, what makes it wrong is, why are you manipulating the energy? What is your purpose? What is your intention? Now, that is where the sin is. Is it to pray, P-R-E-Y, on people? Is it to get them to give their money? Are you prophesying in that service, moving that way? Are you stirring up the organ and to get people in the energy for them to give their money away? That's witchcraft. A lot of this I should be saying in Patreon, but oh well, oh hell. But it's the truth. I don't know. You know, you that are listening to me are special people, because most people don't have ears for this. Between YouTube and Facebook, there's barely 1,000 people. No, today's witches life nation. No, that's not right. The pharmacists are sorcerers. That's the word of sorcery. The medicinal world is sorcery. It's the mixing of these chemicals in order to create an action. Tylenol is sorcery. Excedrin is sorcery. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? Pharmaceutic, it means sorcery. The etymology is sorcery. Oh my God. Okay. All right, so all right, where am I gonna go with this? I done went somewhere everywhere. How am I doing? Am I doing all right? Jeremy staying that back a little bit, seems like. But I was going to say this. Do you know how they got some of the slaves in the 1800s on some ships? Oh, this is sad. There was, they say one, but it was more than one, slave ship called Jesus. Jesus, the Savior and the salvation, taking you to the promised land. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? Oh, I know you don't like what I'm saying. Yeah, I know you don't like what I'm saying, but it's the truth. Just Google some or AI chatbot thing. Jesus of Lubeck. Type it in there so you can go and study it. Lubeck. All right. So let me where am I? Next video. Let's look at, because these are white folk now. This ain't black folk. We look at these white folk videos and we are talking about it. So these white men are creating these conversations tonight. So let's look at this one. Now, this was interesting. This is a bishop, an Episcopalian bishop who later on retired. Bishop, God, I can't think of his name, but I think it's on the thing. He let Joseph Sophie, maybe. He later on retired. What is it? Sponge. Okay, Joseph Sponge, I think it is. He was Episcopalian bishop who retired, and he actually died during the pandemic, I think it was. And in the pandemic, 21. Yeah, September 2021. I remember that. September 2021. Let's look at what he's saying, and we're going to discuss this.
I don't think hell exists. I happen to believe in life after death, but I don't think it's got a thing to do with reward and punishment. Religion is always in the control business. And that's something people don't really understand. It's in the guilt-producing control business. And if you have heaven as a place where you're rewarded for your goodness and hell as a place where you're punished for your evil, then you sort of have control of the population.
Okay, I'm going to bring them back, but I got to say something right here. Did you hear what he said? Listen to me. And I didn't realize this till later on. I didn't get saved because I was scared of God at all. And if you got saved because you were scared into salvation, what I'm going to say is, okay, that's where you started. But that shouldn't be where you are now. You should not be living for the Lord, like they said, and saved and praying and fasting and giving and doing what is proper because you're trying to stay out of hell. You shouldn't be doing it because you're trying to go to heaven. You should be doing it because you are in love with yourself and with God. Let me repeat. You should not be, if you're watching me right now and you say it because you ain't want to go to hell or you want to go to heaven, that's improper. Your service to do good should be from love for yourself and God, respect for yourself and God. Simple as that. I didn't know that people got saved because they were scared. It was in 2015 when I had leaders that were in my ministry to tell me. I was talking on live and I was saying, I don't never think about no hell. And I said, I never thought about hell. I said, then they point out, well, you never preached on it. I said, yeah, because I ain't preaching on hell, I ain't preaching on heaven. I mean, because it's not important. I love God. I love me. I love good. I don't like evil because of what it breeds. It doesn't bring good. Evil isn't good for me. I'm not thinking about that. And then they told me, yeah, that's why I got saved. That's why I'm saved now. I said, oh, okay. I said, dog, How in the world I pastored for 20 at that time, almost 20 years, 18 years at the time, and I did not know that these folk were saved because they scared. But when I say Christianity, is politics. Christianity, the religion, is a business. And this man said it. The business of fear. This is a problem, you guys, and we need to acknowledge it and not act like it's not there. Let's keep listening.
A place where you're rewarded for your goodness and hell is a place where you're punished for your evil, then you sort of have control of the population. And so they create this fiery place, which has quite literally scared the hell out of a lot of people throughout Christian history. And it's part of a control tactic.
But wait a minute, you're saying that hell, the idea of a place under the earth or somewhere where you're tormented for an eternity, is actually an invention of the church?
I think the church fired its furnaces hotter than anybody else. The church doesn't like for people to grow up because you can't control grown-ups. That's why we talk about being born again. When you're born again, you're still a child. The people don't need to be born again. They need to grow up. They need to accept their responsibility for themselves in the world. Every church I know claims that we are the true church. And they have some ultimate authority. We have the infallible Pope. We have the inerrant Bible. The idea that the truth of God can be bound in any human system, by any human creed, by any human book, is almost beyond imagination for me. I mean, God is not a Christian. God is not a Jew or a Muslim or a Hindu or a Buddhist. All of those are human systems which human beings have created to try to help us walk into the mystery of God.
Now, I love this because I've said this for years, and I just saw this video when I posted like 2 or 3 years ago. That's my first time seeing this, but I have been saying this for years. Jesus, when I say Jesus, I'm talking about my apostolic baptized in Jesus' name. I know what that sounds like to other people, but I'm talking about the revelation of my Jesus sits outside of Christianity, all the Abrahamic religions. My Jesus is God. And all these religions are nothing but man-made paths. Because man is trying to understand God. I remember, they thought God was the sun. They thought God was the moon. They thought God was the tree because these things nobody created. And it was so magical and mystical. The change of the season and the snow, all that's God in the beginning. But as man began to grow mathematically and technologically, man began to try to explain God and the idea. Hence, religions came. So it's an attempt. I believe that a pure religion is a safe place, whatever it is. Mine is Christianity. In its purity, a religion in its purity is going to lead you to God or Jesus. I believe that. I've studied other religions. I see Jesus in all of them. So that's why I don't have no problem with whatever you believe. Because if you really become in connection with God, no matter what your religious path is, you're going to show up as love. You're going to show up as kindness, care, concern, giving, integrity, honesty. You're going to show up like that. So how come we can't be friends? How come we can't do business? How come we can't get married and create a family? It don't matter your religion. What matters is your relationship with God. When they call him Allah, that don't make no difference. Go down there on that mat 3 times a day and pray. I don't even care. My main driver is Muslim. Sweet as pie. And get along good. And respect each other's faith. Because we practice relationship with God. It was through the religion, but it's not religion anymore, it's relationship. I just identify with Christianity because that's my root. And any man that moves from their root, I'm not talking about Baptists, disciples of Christ, apostolic, but when you move from whatever your root, your basic belief system is, I feel as though that you're probably going to have some kind of offsetting because nobody can live separated from their root. But there's nothing wrong with you realizing that certain things along the way in your religious practice were distractions from your relationship with God. And that's what I did. So I just let them go. And I respect whatever anybody holds to, but I just ain't holding to no bullshit. And still keep my relationship intact. In fact, once you decolonize and you deconstruct, your relationship with God gets deeper. Because you move all of that stuff out the way. Let's keep listening to what he said. I just had to interrupt and say that.
My tradition. I walk through my tradition, but I don't believe my tradition defines God. God is unfolding through the life of our consciousness and our self-consciousness and is not a parent figure up in the sky. But I believe because I'm related to something that is not bound by time and space, that I will share in whatever God's eternity is.
I am relating to something that's not bound by time, space, or a book. This is how come when I'm having conversations with people about God and they don't do nothing but quote scriptures, I'm like, okay, I see what I'm dealing with. I ain't even have no conversation with you. Because your relationship with God starts in and begins with your relationship with the Bible. You are a Bible worshiper and you don't know God. Mm-hmm. Okay. That was a great video. Look at these white folk. I told you white skin is not the problem. It's whiteness. Okay, so let's look at this next video. Oh my Lord, this was interesting. Ooh, Father.
Into slavery, which wasn't right, but they got the gospel when they got here. And you know what? I bet you there's a lot of Africans that if they hadn't have been brought over, not saying it was right, don't misunderstand, not justifying the slavery in the situation, but God, I still believe, used it. And now I'm sure there's a lot of Africans that got the gospel and they're in heaven right now because they got the gospel. You know, what would be better? For them to have lived their entire life in Africa free, doing their voodoo or whatever, and then dying and going to hell, right? Or what happened? And then they go to heaven. They get the opportunity. Now, again, it doesn't justify it. The ends do not justify the means, but this is how God works. This is what God does in the Bible. And we have black people in here. I don't think any of you guys were ever slaves. I was never a slave. It's like, white privilege. You were never a slave. You were never living during the time, unless you're very old, like 60 or 70 maybe, or 80 years old, you're never even living during a time where segregation was a thing in this country. I mean, what are you crying about? Nothing even happened to you. You're just making up stuff. You can't look at the facts that I was reading and just attribute that to some kind of white privilege. It's not real. Get over it. Quit having all the excuses. Why don't you take some responsibility for your choices, be content with whatever situation you were born into, and make the most of it. God's not limited to your situation. He can do above, what we ask or think.
Devin Rogers is his name. Deven Rogers. I would be embarrassed if I was his family member. If I was a member of the church, I would be embarrassed. But the reality is, you guys, that I've heard so many black and white Christians say this same stuff. We heard Apostle Kim Daniels say that. She said, I thank God for slavery because I will still be in Africa worshiping a tree. Now, that's what an apostle said. Take it up with her and Apostle John Eckhart. That's his spiritual daddy, which I can't figure none of that out. That is the dumbest, absolute, stupid statement. And she black. Now, this gives us a good picture of what Christianity is. He justified slavery through Christianity. And y'all, I hate to say this, but he's absolutely 100% Christian. I want you to get this. He is 100% absolute Christian. The way that Christian originated, Christianity was started, the reason and the why. Devin Rogers is absolutely Christian. And you, as a Christian, was colonized by this political business called Christianity. So you must decolonize your faith, and you must deconstruct it and pull the bullshit out of it, because it's giving you church brain and it's keeping you from manifesting, showing up in this world the way that you should. Whew. Lord Jesus. Well, I'm going to end tonight's broadcast with giving you a picture of the world that I grew up in. It's a video. Somebody sent this video to me, and I've watched it so many times, it blessed me. We have managed the 12 million that was captured out of Africa, 10.2 million that made it here in America, our ancestors. And through all of that, we were still plugged into our African spirituality. African spirituality is this. Now, do not listen to what people tell you it is who have white souls. The basis of all African spirituality, they're all different types, Yoruba, there's a whole lot of different types of the Ifa, there's all different types. But the basis of African spirituality, number one, is this: honor God and develop a relationship with him. Now, in Christianity, it's know your Bible. Listen to your pastor. Stay in that Baptist church. Stay in the Disciples of Christ. Stay in the Apostolic. Stay Kojic. You cannot join here, you're born here. That's that Christianity that is a business and is political. Whenever you see that kind of stuff going on in church and connected to your church, you need to run out of there. Because they're plugged into that whore mentioned in Revelations. That is the Christian church. Now, number two, have a relationship with those that came before you, your ancestors. That's the basis. Not worship them as God. Acknowledge them and learn their history and their ways. The God of our fathers. Number three, have a good relationship with your family. But we're harping on the scriptures that say Jesus come to set mom against daughter, father against son, and all of that kind of going on. And we use it to justify the breakup or the breach between blood relatives. Africans don't play that. The families stay together. That's what they don't do. Hospice. They don't do rest home. Somebody's going to have to come out of their career, and the other ones making money have to send money home because mom, dad has to be taken care of by family. Family first. The Jews are still doing it. But look at us as African descendants from Africa and how we moving like the white man. That's not how we're supposed to move. We're talking about basic African spirituality. Number four, have a relationship with your community. You don't know your neighbors. That's the way of the Western world. But no, you must have a relationship with your community. And number 5, honor nature, the land, what the land brings forth, the herbs, the trees. You're supposed to know the herb. What do you eat for the brain? The walnut looks just like the brain. What do you eat for the eye? What do you eat for the gut? What do you do for this ache? You as an African should have some basic working knowledge. I prophesied in a conversation with the one of my members named Naita. And I said, I keep seeing you as a medicine woman. She began to tell me about her grandma and all these herbs and stuff. I said, oh my God, so it's in you. That needs to be taught and passed to the next generation. This is basic African spirituality. Not all that stuff they be telling you guys. Because they want to keep you from your power now. Because if you connect and then lift your voice in that kind of praise and travail and begin to pray with all of those things intact, you connect with in a deeper power with God. Western Christianity now is raping even the way that we as Black Christians in America have worshiped. They did great at disconnecting us from our roots. Do you know, had it not been for Charles Parham and some other Europeans who were bled upon by Africa, who then came over here and taught William Seymour, that came down to Charles Mason, Azusa, about talking in the language of angels, that would have never been introduced to us here. But we already knew thousands of years, and they stopped us. Are y'all hearing what I'm telling you? Because what I'm telling you is the truth. So here's a video of church way back when, and this is how I was raised. So this is why when you come to a service I got going on, everybody's spinning. Everybody got their own dance and move, and the noise that's coming out of our mouth. I always taught all the years past, I said there's no such thing as dancing in the spirit, and there's no sound coming out of your mouth. And I would say, tap your African roots. You can even see that on some intercession on some of my old videos, 10 years old. And I'm telling them to tap their African roots and lift their voice. And it sends a powerful release in the atmosphere. It pierced through the soul, that spirit dividing between soul and spirit, going between the marrow of the bone, hitting in the gut, in the head, and in the heart, changing how the hand moves, the body moving with the flow of the spirit. See, back then, the spirit will come in, we get transcended, and we'll go up in the spirit, and our bodies will begin to move. Our hands will begin to clap. Then the musicians will follow the vibration of the flow of the spirit. Now in y'all churches, the musicians start the music up, then you just start doing little tiny dances. You know, I tell you the truth, I just can't. And it bothers me because I know where we come from. And this is not it. This is a watered down version of who we are, and we got to get back. Look at this. Look. This is where I come from. Notice the musicians come in later. The spirit give us the flow, the rhythm, the tempo, and the beat. From their relationship with God. That's African spirituality. Not what liturgy or order or programs say, but what the spirit say. Watch these body moves that are unique, just moving with the spirit, coming out of the relationship and the expression of the spirit. You hear the sound of the voices. I told you what that was. We call it the wail. We call it the travail. And Judaism, it's the Shabbat. But we hear the ululating. And then you're going to see the shout. The original word ring shout in Africa. The Jewish word korah. The dance is going to show up. Look at here. Look at the skip and the movement of her body. This will happen all the time. And it starts stirring the spirit. And then there's a lifting that comes, transcending. Pay attention to the way the body is moving, the twirling, the spinning. Everything is unique. It's coming out of their relationship, the vibratory frequency of their connection, what wavelength they're on in spirit, in their prayer life, in their fasting life, and their connection with God. And that's where all of that is coming from. And you feel that transcendent thing that's happened. That's mysticism now. Now, they tell you to stay away from that word, but that's where you come from. You are a mystic. When you plug into your African roots, you become a mystic. Oh, how we have changed. And because of that change, we're paying a price. And there's something missing. You know it, you feel it. That's why you're here. All right. I'll chat with you guys later. God bless you all. If you enjoyed tonight, make sure you leave your $8.88. Put your phone number in there so that we can know who is supporting us. Cash App $ MBN Network, Venmo at MBN Network, Zelle info at thembnnetwork.org. Text the word give to 404-800-4530, or just go to LarryReidLive.com and click donate. All right. God bless you. God bless you. Love you, love you, love you. Oh, hey, Roderick. So I said, no, Larry, don't go. The hell I am. I'm leaving. I'd have been sitting here for an hour and 25 whole minutes. Goodbye.